This episode of the Spoiler Cast was not recorded in front of a live studio audience. Welcome everyone to this very special episode of the Spoiler Cast. I am your temporary host, maybe from the 50s, maybe from the 2000s, Sara, and I'm here with Keith.
Hey, what's going on?
And with Karl.
I may or may not be a dead figure from an event that happened that took out about 50% of the universe.
Aren't you dead?
Dun dun dun. What a twist.
Am I? No!
Well, and we are all here today to talk about the latest TV sensation that is sweeping the nation on Disney+. That is WandaVision, the first of Marvel's Disney Plus exclusive TV shows, and there is a lot to talk about. So why don't we hit it with a quick recap? Karl, as our Marvel expert in my heart at least, why don't you give us a quick recap of what's been happening on this episode of WandaVision?
Do you want just the episode, or you want everything leading up to
All
it? Because
of it.
there's sort of a fair bit to go in, but it is very minimal at the same time. I will basically preface this for any comic book fans. Just go read Avengers Disassemble. God damn it, please. And everybody on Twitter that keeps doing it, the same thing.
And House of M while you're at it.
Yeah, maybe. But basically, all of a sudden, a town has popped up in the middle of, was it New Jersey or out
New
Jersey?
Yep.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not too good with American locations.
We're not either, and we live here.
Yeah. That's the education system for you. But basically, a town called Westview has appeared out of nowhere, and it seems to be surrounded with a energy signature dome thingy, but basically just looks like the old red, green, and blue squares that you see on the old CRT televisions. But it's more so what's going inside the town that's the whole thing, which seems to be a sitcom starring the Scarlet Witch and Vision, two members of the Avengers, who are basically just living out their lives in a very suburban manner. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on with this. Basically, there are some things going on with Wanda. She doesn't really seem to be herself. She's trying to find a way to fit in and being a suburban housewife with the life she wants with Vision. But considering this is phase 4 of Marvel, there are certain things that happened to Vision that may or may not have impacted the entire thing. We start out early off with the 50s era television shows harkening back to like the Honeymooners type stuff. All very much in line with that type of sitcom. Then it's basically the family drama. You know, Wanda's trying to cook dinner for an event that she didn't know of because Vision put something down on a calendar that indicated his boss was coming over for dinner, but they thought it was like some sort of anniversary. You know, those type of early hijinks that you saw a lot in those 1950s style family shows. Then the next episode moved on to your 1960s, heavily relying on Bewitched sitcom flavor, which ended with a couple of interesting things: a beekeeper showing up and Wanda reversing time, and also Wanda suddenly becoming pregnant. And then episode 3 was very heavily influenced by the Brady Bunch era of television, which basically revolved around Wanda's very fast developing pregnancy to her giving birth at the end of the episode, and flinging one of the characters out of the reality that Wanda seems to have created in the town of Westview. Then you have episode 4, which takes everything from outside of the sitcom setting and places it back into the main reality, where we get to see the events of episode 1, 2, and 3 from a different perspective, that being of the organization known as SWORD, which are usually a space division, but this time they're doing the sort of the weird scientific phenomenons that are revolving around the town of Westview. This also includes the return of many characters. We had Agent Wu from SWORD, who popped up in Ant-Man and Wasp. Also, Kat Dennings returns as her character from Thor.
I love them both so much. Love them both.
Darcy, my
They work
love.
so well together.
Now
yes,
it's Dr. Darcy.
returns. Yes, Dr. Darcy. Supposedly she's also working for S.W.O.R.D. and also the major character that has been a fan favorite of this series so far, Monica Rambeau, otherwise known as Captain Goddamn Marvel.
Oh, we're going to start this, huh? We're not going to just call her Photon and Spectrum. We're just going to call her Captain Marvel, eh?
Okay.
No,
okay.
I call her Captain Marvel because that's what I recognize her as. She held the mantle before friggin' Brie Larson, damn it.
Oh, no.
Okay, everybody, let's take a deep breath. Come on now.
I'm pretty sure she's tired of having her name changed multiple times as well. Let's talk about that. Hell, I'm sorry, Sarah. Let's talk about that. Captain Marvel, Pulsar, Spectre, Photon, Spectrum.
Why does this feel like a presidential debate, guys? Come on.
Sit down and shut up. I don't want to talk to you.
We have the best show on the best network. It's totally good. You should watch it.
The ratings are huge.
They pretty much are, actually.
Okay, let's back off the point of contention, gentlemen. We are not here to argue about Monica Rambeau's title. Karl, please continue without inciting the fight, please.
That is pretty much that's pretty much it in terms of recapping the story without going into too much detail. If you do want details, of course, you go to the Outerhaven.net where we have a review of episode 4 up on the site, I believe, as well as a nice little article by one of the people that is sitting here with me at the moment, indicating the ramifications of the return, people returning from the blip, which was the Thanos-inspired little snap that happened.
It is, it's real scary, you guys, but yes, you should definitely check this out if you're looking for more detail. Now, I'm going to start off with a question, and I would like no murders, please, and thank you. Of the first 3 episodes, 50s Wanda, 60s Wanda, and 70s Wanda, which was your favorite? Let's start with Keith.
The later one, the 70s.
70s?
Oh my God, yes. She's like, you know what? I'm tired of your shit. I am not taking it anymore. She's like, you know what? This is my show. I'm running things. I don't want you in here, and I'm controlling everything. Get out. Oh, by the way, don't worry about getting out. I'm going to kick you out.
Damn. All right, Karl.
I'm actually 60s because I was a big fan of the old school Bewitched style that came in with that, especially because we did have a lot of references to other characters. Like the actress who played Anyanka from Buffy the Vampire Slayer was in it as Emma, which a lot of people have speculated could be Emma Frost.
No, actually, I think her name is Dottie in the show.
Was it?
Emma Caulfield is the actress's name, and her character's name is Dottie.
But people were actually indicating that could also have been Emma Frost as well. They're trying to find ways to connect this to X-Men because they're hoping that a certain line gets uttered at the end of the series. But this was sort of but it was also the episode where you start to notice things were not as they seemed. Like episode 1 had that very locked into, this is going to be a sitcom style show. We didn't really think of anything of the last few seconds, which actually showed Darcy's character tuning into that show, which we then get to see from the other's perspective in episode 4. But with the 1960s era one, there was a lot more, like, you had Agent Wu breaking in via the radio, you had characters breaking lines and saying stuff that was influenced by the outside world. This is where you got to realize that things aren't exactly what they seem. And that brought the intrigue and everybody sort of going, okay, we now understand what's going to happen. I'm invested.
I actually agree. I also think the 60s one is my favorite, but for a similar reason, but slightly different, it really gave me Twin Peaks vibes, where it's like, when Dottie, played by Emma Caulfield, sort of breaks character where she's freaking out about the radio and then smashes like the glass in her hand, and she like gives Wanda this look. I mean, you get that a little bit in the 50s one too, where the wife of the boss looks at Wanda and is like, why are you doing this? Or stop this, I think is what she actually says. And you're like, oh my god. The 60s episode gave me a lot of really interesting Twin Peaks sort of vibes, where it's like beautiful, placid Americana, but like there's some shit going on. It's dark underneath the beautiful suburban manicured lawns. And when she I just love when she just straight up goes, no, and just rewinds time. Like just that very clear sort of moment where you get a peek at how conscious Wanda is of of sort of like the pristineness of the reality. And you do sort of have that question still in the early episodes of like, how much does Wanda realize what she's doing? Because she's got an American accent and not like the sort of like very vague European Sokovian accent. She understands her powers, but like she's not doing the weird like light manifestation that we usually see when she's using her powers. So all of that, is how much is she really realizing what's happening? And that's sort of the first inkling in that episode that like, no, yeah, Wanda knows what's up, but she's very invested in it. Is there anything else anyone wants to bring up about those first 3 episodes? Is there any burning passion for those?
No, only thing. Well, go ahead, Karl. Go ahead.
I actually love the accuracy to the authenticity of the style of the times. Like each episode had its own very unique and very distinct sort of look and flavor. Like the house would change every time. Like the layout would change, the items would change, and you could definitely see where the influences came from of that era. I just love the production value in that, taking that sort of care and dedication to make sure that what they're doing is like, you could almost turn around and say, the 1970 episode, which was very Brady Bunch inspired, like you could imagine these two living next door to the Bradys. It was felt like out of that proper era. Yeah, mm-hmm. They had the stairs, they had even right down to the wallpaper, the porch, material, like the porch. Yep.
And it's so funny how close those steps are, because my wife was like, "This reminds me of the Brady Bunch," and I showed her the house from Brady Bunch. And then the house that they were in for the episode was like, look at this. This is damn near spot on. They recreated that perfectly.
Creepy. I wonder if they like low key, because I'm sure the Brady Bunch set must still exist somewhere.
Well, it doesn't. But there was an episode, I think it was HGTV. They recreated the house, the entire house. And I love watching HGTV for some reason. I don't know what's wrong.
You're an old man.
Yeah, probably. No, it's because I like looking at houses being rebuilt and getting ideas for my house. I love that stuff. But yeah, there's like a week's episode or a week's show where they brought back most of the old cast and got the designs and recreate the entire house. It was really cool. Check that out.
But yeah, it is like almost exactly that house. It's really creepy when you like notice it.
Yeah, I've also got to say the ads that pop up in the middle of each episode,
except for the fourth one.
Except, there was some that actually throw back some references to lines that were taken from other series. Like there was one where Hydra was doing a soap. Like there's like a Hydra Blue branded soap or something like that. That's actually a throwaway line from Agent Coulson in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where he said, if I was Hydra and I was looking to mind control the world, I would put the mind control agent in soap because everybody uses soap.
I didn't realize that.
There's a couple of things there from a lot of different references in the Marvel Universe. There's a lot of them.
All right, so let's move on to the biggie, the big bad, the episode that changed it all, or I mean, if you weren't looking for it. Episode 4. So as Karl talked about, basically we see the world from the outside of Westview, which turns out not even a real town. Eastview is the town, and the cops are very nonchalant about a random town that has just popped right the fuck out of nowhere. Which actually, Karl, if it is that, like, they're pulling people from different, like, X-Men, or, like, it would make sense, because that's just, like, then why are all these random people in this area, and how did they get pulled in if there's no town there? So that would be interesting if they attracted, like, mutants or other superpowered people that we just haven't met yet.
It is highly possible, but there were hints, I believe, at episode 3, the two neighbors talking, and they're like, we're really, like, they did that, we're really, but then they stopped trying to give an explanation of who they were. It could be possible that they are mutants. It could be possible they're agents of S.W.O.R.D. or S.H.I.E.L.D. that have gone in or something like that. As they started putting together in episode 4, these are actual people. They could have been people who lived in the town. There's a million and one ways that we could look at the surrounding characters and how they interlace with everything. But with the cops being nonchalant, though, you got to remember, by this point, we're sitting at stage 4 of of what's going on. We've seen aliens, invasions, gods, robotic takeovers, half the world population just disappear with a snap. We've seen we've seen the Guardians of the Galaxy rocking up out of nowhere. We've got the formation of the Avengers. Of course, the cops are going to be nonchalant, but by this phase, they're like, we've pretty much seen it all, so nothing's really going to. Oh, it's a town that appeared out of nowhere. How long till the Avengers get here? I need a coffee.
Well, here's the thing. So I want to go back real quick. They couldn't have picked them from the town because the town doesn't exist. So they got them from somewhere. They haven't pieced that together yet. But
no, the town, the town Westview doesn't exist. It was known as Eastview, though. It's sort of like taken over. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like The Simpsons putting them under the glass dome in the movie. Sort of that type of idea.
That's what I wasn't getting. It was like, was it another town or was it just a stretch of land? Because going back to those cops, when they disappeared, they didn't show you did they go through it or did they turn around? It's like, what happened to those guys? They just disappeared.
Lack of continuity.
Back, the thing that got to me, the thing that I was like, hey guys, the other day, I got questions, was this. Were they hinting towards Monica actually being who she turns out to be in the Marvel Universe? Because when she walks up to these energy field, nobody else saw it, right? Wu tried to walk up to it, and he was like, he wouldn't let me in. He didn't know where it was. He just walked up. She saw it. She's the only one who saw it because it was energy.
Potentially. I mean, that would make sense if they were going for a sort of, if they wanted to highlight that maybe she's special and that maybe there's a reason she either maybe the whole theory where they're pulling superpowered people, whether they be mutants or other types of powered people, in would make sense if she's the only one to go through it and if Wu couldn't get near it. Because, yeah, it accepts her pretty readily. It just kind of like sucks her in.
But at the same time, if you go back a little further, and stop me if I'm skipping ahead, but when we go towards the dude in the hazmat suit, he doesn't see it. He just goes right on in. He doesn't see it. He's not appearing. He's like, whatever, I'm just walking through this, crawling through this sewer line. No big deal. So they haven't really explained yet. They've got
the beekeeper, the guy, when I've actually gone back and pulled up episode 4 now, just since we're referencing it a lot. The guy who actually goes into the sewer system and becomes the beekeeper when he emerges from the reality, like that thing is like a bubble. He doesn't sense it. He knows that there's a line somewhere, but the only indication that he would understand that something has gone wrong is when he comes out of the sewer and he realizes he's got a beekeeper outfit on instead of the sort of like biohazard suit that he had going in.
And they really didn't show any kind of like, oh my God, what just happened to me? He just comes out and goes, oh.
Yeah.
When he gets up, you can see he's inspecting his clothing.
Yeah.
So it's like he doesn't notice it until he gets out and starts getting surrounded by bees, obviously.
So wait, question. What do you think happened to that guy? Because she just noped him the fuck out of existence. Like,
we have no idea.
Is he still in the town or is he dead? Oh, well, theories, guys, theories. Do you think he's dead?
I think he could have just been like yeeted out of the existence, much like she did with Monica. But of course, we can't really see that because when Wanda does something that's going to change the fabric of the reality inside Westview, it comes up as like a jump cut or an edit in the show. So we don't, unless they actually show something happening, like going back again, once they did in episode 4, and showing Monica getting thrown out through the walls and yeeted out of the universe, or even in episode 3 when she got yeeted out, we're not going to know what's happening with these characters. So for all we know, she could turn around and go, hey, you don't exist, because that's the extent of Wanda's powers. She manipulates reality, literally. If she wants to go, you don't exist, you don't exist.
I don't know if her powers are that strong right now. I mean, they're leading up to where they're going to be.
Right. I mean,
they're definitely leading up to that.
I would like to note one interesting thing in episode 4 that I noticed, because I've been looking for it. So when they're like putting up the people on the wall, like, oh, the couple from episode 1 are so and so and so and so, and like the best friend is played by this person. One, they didn't do the guy in episode 3 that Agnes is talking to with the big afro. They don't bring him up at all. But you see on the wall, you see Agnes's profile, but they don't say her name. And somebody was like, they can't say her name because her name is Agatha Harkness, or is that what it is? I know it's Agatha for sure.
Yep. You're right.
Yeah, and they're like, and if they say it, then it ruins the whole twist that like Agatha's trying to get Wanda out. I don't know a ton. It's been a minute since I've like read House of M and Avengers Disassembled, but Agatha's like a super powered witch, and she's Wanda's teacher in the comics. So that would be an interesting tie-in if they decided to go that route, or was. Well, actually, that's a good point, because the Wanda that we see in the movies does not seem to have any formal training of any kind, which, I mean, to be fair, like, she was made in a lab and then taken in basically immediately by the Avengers, so, like, and they didn't even meet Strange until much, much later, so, yeah, you know, she doesn't seem to have much formal training, so we don't know if she's in that teacher role or not. If this is even where it's going, honestly, it would be kind of fucked up, but maybe the whole Agnes thing, Agnes being Agatha, that's like a whole red herring.
You know what's funny about that whole thing, now that you mention that? You know, there's a character who was missing off that wall.
Dottie?
Dottie's not there.
Dottie's not there either, no.
Nope. Well, Agatha's there.
Agatha is on the wall. Dottie's not on the wall. No.
Nope.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
So that was one thing I noticed. I was like, why didn't they say her name? They said everyone else's name, but not hers. Interessante. It could be, honestly, and wouldn't that
Nelson's
be sick?
not there either. The doctor's not there either.
The doctor's not there, but I was going to say, wouldn't it be sick if they were like, no, it's Agnes, but then it's like, surprise, bitches, it's Dottie, and the Caulfield's a witch in this one. It's a Buffy connection. Gotta make it happen.
That would be interesting. I don't know, though. I mean, see, the reason why a lot of people are saying it's Agatha, and I also thought it was Agatha, but at the same time, she doesn't exist in this cinematic universe that we know of. We're pulling everything from the comics, and even though this is pulling a lot from Avengers Disassembled and maybe House of M later, she doesn't exist in this timeline. She doesn't exist in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So this person could be just a person that she picked up, but they're throwing out so many. I don't want to say red herrings, but they're throwing out so many things saying, "Hey, this is the person from the comic that you all know." Even the brooch that has the two children and the Grim Reaper on it. Come on, guys, what are you doing? I think they're doing it on purpose to, again, red herring, to throw everybody off of what exactly is happening.
Yeah, I would appreciate that if that's actually what's going down. Like, I would be more invested in, I mean, not that I'm not invested, but like, I would give them like a yay thumbs up, because so many people are like, oh, I know where this is going. I've got it because I've read the fucking comics, which, you know, fair. They got to pull from something, right? But
I mean, There's just so many things here. Like, one more thing, and I'm going to shut up because I want you guys to talk because I'm geeking out. Sorry. When we first see Monica make it back to Sword, and she's talking to the acting director, I forgot his name. He's like, you know, you're one of the first people to come back after the blip, and I'm still missing a lot of people. I'm missing astronauts. And like, wait, is that the end for the Fantastic Four? Is it? Because we know that Marvel has them back now.
And wants to do stuff with it. It's not like X-Men where they're like, we're not going to touch X-Men for a while, and everyone's like, boo, how dare you bring back my X-Men. But they're going to do a fantastic remake. This is going to be the fourth movie. God,
would it be funny if they brought back Michael B. Jordan? Like, all right, so now you're back in here again. Wait, what?
I mean, they're supposedly bringing back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield for the next Spider-Man. So, you know, hey, anything could happen. Disney is all powerful.
Well, I'm not believing anything until they officially say these guys are coming back. Because right now, there's a lot of he said, she said.
Yeah, there's plenty of that. But speaking of like the he said, she said, again, I'm going through episode 4, and Agent Wu's, you know how he's got his whiteboard and he's talking, you know, putting up what we don't know and stuff like that. If you actually look off on the left-hand side, there's a section that said who's behind this, and he's got scrolls in question mark.
Oh.
And as we've already know, Skrulls are already established in the Marvel Cinematic Universe thanks to the Captain Marvel movie, and also one of the post credits things. I think it was the second Ant-Man and Wasp movie or something. One of them was
Far From Home. Far From Home. That's right. Yeah, so it's like, okay, are we going to have like maybe a Skrull invasion down the line? It's like, I'm just looking through this. It's like so many bits and pieces which could be examined for days. Like the credits of the sitcom version.
Are they characters in the Marvel Universe? Are they the people that have been, quote unquote, abducted into this town? You know, there's so much that could be going in there. And then on top of that, you've got the children. The babies that Wanda had.
which a
The
lot of
Billy
people,
and Tommy.
Souls.
Yep, Billy and Tommy, otherwise known as Billy Catwoman and
Misto.
Tommy. Well, actually, Wiccan and Speed,
Wiccan and Speed.
which were two children of Wanda in the comics. So,
But were they really children? Were they really children?
Well, that's it.
how do we know what's real and what's not with this?
I would like to throw up a theory real quick, if I may be allowed. I think so let's as Karl has mentioned, Billy and Tommy in I don't know if it's an alternate universe or they somehow magically come back. Who the fuck knows with Marvel? Become the heroes Speed and Wiccan. Now, wouldn't it be interesting if they weren't real, but then in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, she finds a multiverse where Billy and Tommy are alive and real and living as Speed and Wiccan or not, it doesn't matter.
Which essentially is what happened in the comics.
Oh shit. Okay, wait, never mind. Not a plot twist. It turns out I just actually...
when she did all this, she made a pocket universe and go read the comic. Go read the comics.
See clearly. But yeah, so that would be interesting because a lot of people are already throwing up the theory that WandaVision's going to end real bad and Wanda's going to be the villain of Multiverse of Madness. And I'm like, that would be an interesting plot point where the reason why she's pulling the fucking universe apart is to find a reality where Billy and Tommy and Vision are all still alive and like that she can have them and be a happy family.
I saw and heard that as well. But we also got to remember that they already established who the villain of that one's going to be.
Well,
but
they established a villain, not...
Okay, a villain. I definitely think that this is going to have big implications for that movie. I definitely believe the Wanda is going to be in there some shape or form. And when does that come out now? When is the new Doctor Strange movie coming out?
I have legitimately... I don't think anybody knows. I don't even think Disney is 100% sure when the hell that shit's coming out. Probably in 2022.
It was supposed to be 2022, March 25th, 2022, but that was before COVID and Disney not wanting to move their movies to Disney Plus because they think that people are going back to... Yeah, Disney, we're not going back to any kind of normalcy anytime soon. Just stop playing games.
Yeah, please.
Not happening.
Please. If I get to watch Suicide Squad on fucking HBO Max, I want to watch...
Yo, can I just say real quick?
You will be getting Black Widow on Disney Plus, by the way. That was announced that they finally gave in and said, all right, we're going to put Black Widow out. They're going to do that like they did with Mulan, where it's like you pay a little bit extra and you get to access it. It's the same that they're doing with a lot of their own movies, which, hey, I'm happy to pay $30 and watch it in the comfort of my own home rather than go to the cinemas.
Yeah.
When they announced it, because maybe a couple days ago, they still haven't confirmed it. It's not coming yet, unfortunately.
Maybe for the Australian market.
Nope, not coming. Everything else but that is coming. I mean,
rude.
I'm happy that this is what I was saying. Just the other day, I was watching not Marvel related. I was watching Kong Skull Island and Godzilla King of the Monsters, and I was like, hey, by the way, in a couple more months, we get to watch the new one in the comfort of our home. So thank you. Meanwhile, I was like, screw you, Disney. No Black Widow yet. Thanks for that.
Oh man, this is also
the problem with Black Widow, and no offense to Black Widow because I love her as a character, there wasn't a lot of hype going into this movie as it is now, and they're just slowly dragging it out, and everybody's going meh, and it really hurts the character. Disney just needs to stop playing around.
No, it's true. Well, okay, but back to the point at hand. That's my theory about if Billy and Tommy are real. It's no. But then they'll show up in Multiverse of Madness.
That'd be cool.
So
I would like that.
So poor Billy and Tommy. And also, so I would like to ask a question to you guys, which has been a point of contention, I think, especially between people who have read the comics or are familiar with the comics and people who haven't read the comics and have gone into this blind, which is how conscious is Wanda right now in terms of like everything, like the creation of the town, the creation, like is she like aware of what she's doing but in denial? Is she totally like cuckoo banana pants? Like where are we feeling she's at right now? Karl, you want to hit it first?
Oh god, where can we go with this? You're currently dealing with somebody who knows they have reality affecting powers or can change odds or anything depending on what version of Wanda we're talking about. But she's also a grief-stricken woman who has lost the love of her life to a very traumatic event. She has had her future stripped away from her. She has had everything that she wanted in her life basically pulled away. And she has gone into sort of a internal grief state where she is not dealing with it. She's not going through the standard 5 stages of grief. She is currently the most volatile thing on the planet. And a lot of this is literally just that. It is grief. And where I'd rate her as, like, you know, is she close to the end or anything like that? She's nowhere near it. She's still in the denial stage, really, of grief. And people at that stage can be highly unpredictable, especially if they decide to go into themselves and not externalize or deal with the grief in a proper psychological manner. Now, that's me speaking from a community service psychology point of view.
I was about to say, Karl, you're pulling that job stuff in here. Not fair to stop that.
He knows the things.
I'm sorry. I am trained with these type of things. Grief and loss was one of my more highly graded subjects. So to bring that into a comic book world, or in this case into a TV show world, yeah, I can sort of see where Wanda's sitting in all this. And yeah, the whole thing is about grief and her dealing with her loss and everything else. And she has gone in the direction that you don't want to go. She's embraced her deniability and has gone, okay, I have the ability to turn around and create a reality where the love of my life is still alive. I can have children. I can do whatever I want and live my life to what I want it to be. And the fact that she's done it in a little bubble where she thought she wasn't going to get caught. Well, once that bubble breaks, yeah, she's going to go cuckoo.
Keith, thoughts?
I think she is fully aware of what's happening, but you can be aware of what's happening and not in total control. The reason why originally I thought that maybe it was happening subconsciously, or she was just, as Karl was saying, going through the stage of denial. But the most recent episode, when Geraldine got in there and she's like, wait, you're not part of this town. I didn't bring you in here. How the hell did you get here? Which makes you think she knows exactly what she's doing. She was shocked, she was spooked when she saw Vision for a second, when she started losing control, that he was deceased, and she saw him and she was startled. She's like, wait, this is not right. And then when he's like, you know what, we can leave, and she's like, no, this is her home and I got everything under control. She knows what she's doing. She knows that this entire thing is her creation. And now she's in the mode where when Geraldine was there and she's like, you don't belong here, she was protective of it. She was like, why are you here? What are you trying to do? Who is this organization? What is this? She's fearful that somebody's going to try and take this away from her. This is her slice of heaven.
I actually agree with both of you guys in the sense. To me, I think what's happening is, I think she actually is conscious in some states. So Karl has his actual real life applications of psychology, whereas I studied a lot of Freud and Lacan in grad school, which is basically like, this is some cool theory, but no, humans don't act like this. But I think a little bit of what's going on here is sort of like a split ego sort of happening, because you have the Wanda with the American accent who's totally invested in the fantasy, who does not stray from like this she doesn't stray from the script. Like, there's a script and she follows it and she makes sure everybody else is following it, because that's just how things are supposed to be. And then you have the Wanda you see at the end of episode 4 when she boots Monica / Geraldine out, where the accent comes back, the light manifestation power comes back, and she's totally in control in that sense. Like, she's back to who she was. And I don't think she came into Westview 100% conscious of what she was doing, but I think that the OG Wanda, the Wanda we see at the end of episode 4, is now very much aware of what she's doing and is protective of that fantasy to keep the Wanda that doesn't want to deviate from the script, the sort of the innocent Wanda, from figuring out all the horrific things that are happening. So, and that's why after she like shoves Monica through all the walls, she looks like super horrified. She's like, oh my God, like what just happened? And you're like, what do you mean what just happened, ma'am? You shove the woman through a bunch of walls and out of your town. And I think basically it's what Karl said. She's in denial. But it's a sort of very stark split between sitcom Wanda and like Scarlet Witch, the actual Wanda.
It's also interesting when you said that, because when she did that, and I was like, wait, you just shoved her through all these walls and you literally could have killed her and you had no remorse. But yet when you go back and think about Wanda from the Avengers, she was like, oh my God, I just killed these people.
Yeah, but you're also dealing with Wanda's powers to shape and alter reality. Her powers have never been limited to just everything around her. The ability to alter reality, she can, in some ways, alter her own mindset to believe that this sitcom reality is her reality, which is why when she does have those moments of, I guess we could call them sort of lucidity or something, where she realizes that she's the one in control, that she's the one who's created all this, and she gets those moments, that's where that shock and awe comes from, and the what am I doing? Because her brain is now struggling between the fact that there's a part of her that is saying, this is your world, this is your reality, and the other party is screaming at her, you're doing this, you're the problem. But at the same time, then you've got the protectionism coming in, like Sara said, where she's convinced herself that this reality is going to be her reality so much that she wants to protect it. That if she loses it, then that means that she actually has to deal with her grief and everything else. Same, again, going into psychology styles, there are people who can convince themselves that certain events or certain things are real without acknowledging the outside world. And when they acknowledge the outside world, their own personal reality shatters, causing them to go into either a catatonic or a psychotic state. What we're getting with Wanda is we're getting the psychotic state when she realizes that this is not her actual reality.
The only thing I want to toss in real quick, and I get what you're coming from, Karl, and this is new. We don't know yet, but we don't know how strong she is in MCU. We're only going based off what we know from the comics, but as we all seen MCU, the characters have been greatly toned down. Hawk's been toned down. Thor's definitely been toned down. We don't know how powerful they've made her or going to make her. Or as I'm saying from this is her tapping into new stuff that she never knew about, because her powers
could be possible,
or magic and reality bending. So from the comics, that's what she does.
Well, that's the thing. It's like this would actually classify her as, again, using comic references, as an Omega level mutant.
And there's that M word again.
which the only times that we've ever seen Omega level mutants expressed in any Marvel style movies, whether they be made by Marvel or not, would be Jean Grey in the X-Men films. So who knows? This could be the beginning of the idea of Omega level characters being brought in. Because
Iceman's Omega. Iceman's Omega.
But we didn't see him in any of the...
Yeah.
Like,
the only Omega level threat that we have seen in the Marvel...
He changed it. He changed it.
Yeah, gotcha. I changed it, yes. But the only style of technically you could classify him as a mutant in some ways, is Thanos. No, he's the only Omega level threat that you've ever seen in the Marvel universe.
He's a celestial. He's not a Titan. He's not a mutant.
But he's an Omega level threat.
He's a Titan.
Yeah, he's a Titan.
Yeah, but he's still an Omega level threat. Level, but yeah.
Sorry, we're nerds.
We are nerds.
But just so we don't do this any longer than an actual episode of the show.
This is fun.
But
they're very short episodes, man. It's not fair. Like, you sit down, you're all hyped, and it's 30 minutes and it's done.
30 minutes.
The last episode was like, all right, it's getting good. Credits roll. What?
Yep. We did the same thing. I sit there every Friday night, because we actually get it before you guys, which is really fun. 7 o'clock every Friday night here in Australia. I sit down with the missus and we watch WandaVision together, and
that's what we do.
She'll sit there, she'll ask me questions, this, that, and the other. I'm like, no, you just got to go out and buy these books and read them.
Yes, thank you. Because my wife does say, so what? Nope. You got a phone, go to the internet, look it up. Not telling you. Nope, can't help you.
Go read some books. But
I just watch it as a Forever Alone.
But I do have a question, since we're posing theories and everything else. We're at episode 4 now, episode 5 coming up out of, 9 episodes that we found out that this production's doing?
Yep, 9.
9. Okay, so we got 5 episodes left. I reckon at least 3 to 4 of them are going to be based in the sitcom world. And as we've seen, it's going by each decade of television. So last we saw was 1970s era, which means we've got the 80s, 1990s, 2000s, and maybe the 2010s. But that'd be a stretch.
But are we, though? Because the reason why I'm saying that, I want you to continue, but the only reason I'm saying that is when Wanda shot Geraldine Monica through the wall, it changed to the widescreen format.
That's the thing with the widescreen format. The widescreen format is to indicate our reality. If you notice episode 4, everything except for clips except for where they went into the universe, into the sitcom universe, everything was widescreen, and when they went into the WandaVision universe, it was 4:3. So it could be possible, and you got to remember, widescreen format didn't start being used on television in sitcoms and everything else till about the mid to late 2000s. So we still have a possible 3 eras to still use that 4:3 format. My question is, we've seen them based on different styles, like the 1950s was sort of the Honeymooners type thing, Dick Van Dyke Show, stuff like that. 1960s, influenced by Bewitched, stuff like that, and so on and so forth. We say we have 80s, 90s, and 2000s left. What's going to be the influence?
I'm going to go ahead and call Modern Family really early. If we do make it to like the late 2000s into the 2010s, like Modern Family, I just feel like that's what they're going. But also for the 90s, I think this was the 90s. Not. I was born in the 90s, so forgive me. But I think they're going to do a Full House also. So for me, it's Modern Family and Full House are going to be 2 of the influences.
All right, that's interesting. I will agree with Modern Family for the 2000 era. I would probably think for like the 1980s, there's possibility of, I'd say, either Family Ties, Growing Pains, or Happy Days. Would be my
definitely
top.
Not going to be Happy Days.
It's not Happy Days. That was a love letter to the 50s.
True.
Yeah,
so probably Family Ties, I'd say, more than anything. 1980s, I would have to agree. Full House would be your go-to for the 90s. It's a bit of a shame because like 80s had a lot of really fun ones that they could work with, like probably like Mork and Mindy, Roseanne, believe it or not, started in 1980s.
The hair took it away.
Yeah, but it's like even like Murphy Brown, Seinfeld, all 80s.
What about what was that one about the little girl who was a robot?
Oh no!
Oh,
and her name was Vicky.
Vicky,
was it? Yeah, Vicky. Oh no! Small Wonder.
That was 80s, right? 90s.
I think that was 80s.
Could be 80s.
That would be funny because Vision's a robot.
Yeah, that was 80s.
I don't think it's gonna happen. Which is funny.
Kudos for me for remembering that show. Oh my god!
I watched it on Nick at Night.
I'm old.
Told you.
I'm old.
Hey! Look, all 3 of us were born in the 1900s, according to the kids nowadays. So we're all ancients. So
we are the elder millennial.
Jeez. Yeah, I have no idea who they would use in the 90s. Oh man, I'm just looking at all these shows and like, we started running out of family sitcoms that towards that. I mean, what? Married with Children?
Oh God, no! They're not going to do Married with Children.
now it just got in my head, Vision acting like Al Bundy. That would be hilarious.
That's what we got.
Wanderer's pegging the short skirts and leggings
and the poof.
Oh,
really
the hair!
Oh
my god! Oh my god! The red hair! Oh my god!
We had what?
We had Friends, Steinfeld. We had there wasn't many of those shows.
I'd say probably Friends would be closest
Friends
to it.
Friends might be close. In the aesthetic, they wouldn't do it like they wouldn't style the house in the apartment style, but like
the look in the set's design is what we're looking at for that. Not so much like how the episode plays out. It's that sort of what was popular in that era that would have worked
Because they usually
Assuming
tend towards family
they do that.
sitcom.
Assuming they stay with the sitcom and they don't just break character and just go full Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because I gotta be honest with you, the beginning of 4 was like I'm watching a movie now. It was just like I was in the movie theaters.
And that's what it's supposed to. It's supposed to relate that it's meant to be that the movie universe style, which is why that's why we have the widescreen format. That's why everything is referencing other movies. Like the main reality is that cinematic universe, whereas again the sitcom reality is based on classics.
It's totally true. Well, I guess also another good question would be like real quick, like what era are you most looking forward to now that we're moving forward, like of the 80s, 90s, aughts or 2010s?
I'm an 80s baby. I'm looking forward to that 80s aesthetic because like the clothes, the hairstyles, the references that they can get away with are going to be hilarious.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch much TV during that time, so
you don't have
I was
any.
too busy. I was too busy outside playing, doing stuff.
Ugh, what a jock. Gross. If you didn't spend all your time inside watching TV, then are you really a nerd?
Well, I was playing Robotech and watching Robotech and playing Dungeons and Dragons and playing my video games.
Yeah,
so
I was doing the same thing, but evening television was a thing.
I had
prime time television, as it was called.
Yeah.
Yep. And cartoons came on every Saturday for hours. And they were good cartoons.
Yep. From 6 a.m. till midday on a Saturday morning, you sit there with this bowl of cereal, high sugar cereal, and you'd sit there and munch that and watch your cartoons. It was good.
Wait, you still don't do that?
No, well, they don't have Saturday morning cartoons anymore. So this is a thing that
I'm talking about the high sugar cereals.
Oh.
What? You don't do that no more?
Well, high sugar cereals aren't really a thing here anymore because, we have food regulations and stuff like that now.
Because the Australian government gives a shit about its people rather than letting capitalism run rampant. But yeah, they don't have Saturday morning cartoons anymore. I think I realized that like somewhere when I was like late high school, I was like, oh boy, what are they? I'm up on I don't know why I was up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday. I was like, what's on? And it was like nothing. And I was like, what? Where did it go? Who hurt the Saturday morning cartoons? But
yeah, they've been going for a while. Sadly,
it's very sad. Yeah, it has been well over a decade since I figured that out. Which I mean, it still just makes me sad.
Cartoon Network killed the Saturday morning cartoons, unfortunately.
I feel like Netflix really killed the Saturday morning cartoons because now you can just watch everything on demand.
No, it was Cartoon Network. It was definitely Cartoon Network.
Well, I think, as you were saying, we probably shouldn't have this bad boy run much longer than an actual episode of the damn thing, because there is a lot to dissect here. We could spend hours and hours and hours and hours talking about it, but then...
that's what they want.
Our
that's
families...
What they want.
That is what they want, and we can't let Disney win. And also, I think at least your guys' families would miss you. I'm a forever alone, so that's not going to happen for me. But
my family's killing each other. They're killing each other, so I'm good.
Well,
my missus is still asleep, so meh.
She's so lucky. I would love to be asleep.
Okay,
right
can
now.
we go back real quick and just talk about how awesome Dr. Darcy is? I missed her. I was so happy when I saw her. Like, oh my god, they finally brought her back. Thank you.
Also, who the fuck would not get Darcy a coffee? I want that soldier.
I know, right?
I want him court-martialed.
She's like, can I get that coffee?
But that's the thing. If you actually watch the entire episode, she never has a cup of coffee until like right near the end of the episode. But she went and got her own ramen noodles. Where did those ramen noodles come from?
Yeah.
Ramen noodles are everywhere, man. Come on. Yeah. Everybody has them.
Well, they couldn't find her coffee for most of the episode. So where'd she get the noodles before the coffee?
She was like, I'm hungry and nobody was getting me my coffee, so I'm going to get my coffee. You know how you do it. You go in the kitchen, I'm going to get this, and you end up, you know what? I want this instead now. She was
Headcanon is that she stole it from someone, that she just like saw it and she's like, you know what? Fuck y'all, I didn't get no coffee. This is my cup ramen now. Boom.
She probably would, but then she drops it.
Yeah, well, sacrifices must be made for TV drama. No, but Dr. Darcy was great. I'm so glad that she and Jimmy interact. They have such fun chemistry.
And I'm glad they're bringing him back. It's just like the whole thing they did with Coulson's like, all right, he was in the movie and then they killed him off, but he had his own show for a couple of seasons. And then now these guys, so we get to see him outside a movie and hopefully we get to see him back into the movie. Wait, isn't she going to be in Thor 4? I thought they said she's going to be in there.
She might be. I mean, it would make sense. And like looking at like Thor Love and Thunder, like initial images, like it looks like it's going to take place on Earth somewhat.
I've got to say this though. I love the whole idea of Like, she's like, get me the television. So what they find, the first one they find is a television that looks like it came straight out of the 1950s. And then they've got people working on old CRT televisions of all different varieties just to get something that works. And yet she somehow able to plug that into modern equipment to get it to record on a laptop.
You know,
yeah, that part of me. I'll be honest with you.
Hold on, I'm waiting for this. This is what I triggered Keith for.
I was sitting there. You know, every time I watch a movie that has some really weird IT thing, I go, huh. And I did look at that, and I was about to open my mouth, and I think my wife looked at me, and I just stopped. And I think she knew exactly what I was going to say, so I didn't say anything. But how did they get that TV to work in a laptop? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel has
no AV cables, no nothing. That would have been an old style television that would have connected with the little two metal prongs. How do you connect that to a modern setup in order to get that to run on a laptop? I'm sorry,
guys, you know, there's this thing that Marvel has, and it's very special, and they have it in abundant quantities, and it's called handwavium. And it basically makes anything do whatever the fuck they want it to do, because that's what they need it to do for the plot.
Is that a new word? Because is it like afradium too? Because I've know of afradium. I never heard of handwavium. That's
handwavium. Cool. It's not my phrase. I know I've heard it from someone else. I will not claim credit for handwavium. I just want that out there right now. I am not a thief. I don't steal jokes, and I don't steal terms. I don't remember whose it is, but like I've definitely heard handwavium before. Basically, just like it fixes it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Why would we think about this? It's too hard.
But even with the like technical issues with the television aside, I did notice throughout the episode, as the era changes for the show, they've actually changed the televisions. So when they got to the color one, it's a color GE television from the 1970s,
and the scenes change.
Yeah, like it's sort of amazing. It's like very weird to see them do all this type of stuff, but it's like the attention to detail that they have in it is absolutely amazing. Like even like on the outside in reality versus what goes on in the show.
And that's why we have a whole podcast theorizing about all the shit that's going down, because they give us so many clues and breadcrumbs that were like, oh my gosh, or like little Easter eggs to search for, which is awesome.
So good.
Yeah, but I think we should wrap this up. I'm going to ask one last question. If our hearts are ready to let go until Friday when the new episode comes out, what question are you most interested in them answering? Whoever wants to go first.
Okay, fine, I'll go.
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking.
Is WandaVision going to be the kickoff for the new phase of the MCU? Because it seems like WandaVision has its fingers in literally everything. Again, Fantastic Four, the new Doctor Strange movie, possible tie-in bringing the mutants into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, characters that we haven't seen in a while making a return, even though Kat Dennings just said that no, Marvel hasn't called her about Thor 4, which is boo. So is this the jumping off point for MCU?
Yes.
For the next phase?
No, it's already been confirmed by Disney Plus that WandaVision is the opening to Phase 4.
Right, but how entrenched is this going to affect everything else? Like, is there going to be lingering effects in every one of these movies because of WandaVision? That's what I want to know.
We'll find out over time, I guess.
You know, just like Captain and Winter Soldier, what implications is that going to be that Steve Rogers is gone and now Sam is now Captain America? And how does that play in the cinematic universe going forward?
That one should be answered with The Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is premiering later this year.
Yeah.
Right.
But again, my biggest question is like how. Like, it's very much along the lines of Keith. Like, how deep is this going to affect everything? Are we looking at it just affecting the TV side of things, or is it going to play into the movie side of things, or both? My other sort of main thing here is going to be what is going to be the result of when Wanda is forced to face the reality of what she has done. When she realizes her kids are not real, when she realizes that and accepts that Vision is dead, what is that going to do to her on a psychological level, and what is that going to do with her powers? I don't think we're not going to get like a House of M, but in the ending of Avengers Disassembled, spoilers for anybody who hasn't read it. If you haven't read it, go read it.
It's kinda late.
She
You haven't read it by now. Oh, well.
she turns around and she says the phrase "no more mutants" and wipes out, what was it, 98% of the mutant population. Well, we don't really have mutants fully established in the Marvel Universe at the moment. So is it going to be no more superpowers, or no more supers, or no more powers? And she wipes powers from the universe for a while. You know, what is going to be that thing that she says that is going to have the devastating effect on everything that comes after?
I mean, we really don't have, I hate using this word, meta-powered humans in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Well,
other than her and her brother.
Meta-humans is DC?
Yeah.
That's why I said I hate using this word.
We call them supers, first of all. Second of all, I mean, technically, if you were like to say, you know, like you would probably include Doctor Strange, right, for magic users, and then who else is super powered? Thor. I mean, Thor's a god.
But he's magic. That's to me. Doctor Strange is magic, like, and Thor's a god.
Yeah, but if they're all magic, then like, if she were to say no more magic, if you're like, you know what, fuck this shit, and just terminated all magic, then she'd get Thor. She'd get.
But see, going back to the comics, they consider Thor isn't really magic.
But in the MCU, he calls himself magic.
It's technology. He calls himself magic. Remember when Marvel didn't like using that word in MCU?
Yeah, and then surprise,
magic.
Guess what? So yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, she'd definitely take people out. There are supered people in the MCU. Plus, then also like the freaking Celestials are coming, right? Is that who that's?
The Eternals.
The Eternals. That's who's coming, Devil. And I'm like, those guys are coming, and they're powered. But those are both really good questions. I concur. My question is a little bit simpler, and it's just a little bit more cruel because I'm an asshole, and also I really love stories of trauma and people getting over trauma. It's what I studied in my master's program because I apparently am just a very sad person. I would love to know, because you can see inklings of it in the show, when is Vision going to realize what's happening, right? Obviously it's not the real Vision, but I would love to know what's the moment that sort of like breaks him, where he realizes like, holy shit, I done fucked. And like, I'm not alive, and Wanda's fucking everything up, and oh no, do I have to kill my wife? Which would be a thing, right? So for me, I would like to know when, like, this version of Vision, the WandaVision version of Vision, realizes that something is horrifically wrong, to the point where he might actually have to be the one to take Wanda down. Because who else is going to do it? Like
Doctor Strange,
maybe, potentially, but in the immediate world of the show, someone's got to stop her. Someone's got to, as Karl said, burst the bubble. Who's going to do that? Think it's Vision. And I want to know what's the moment when Vision realizes that, like, this has got to stop. And, like, if he's got to fight Wanda to make it happen, he's going to fight Wanda to make it happen.
I think we're already getting inklings of that. Like, he's starting to wake up. I think it was episode 3 or something. After the conversation with the neighbors.
Yeah.
He's starting to sort of realize something's going on. Yeah. And it's not right. So I have a feeling that we're starting that path where he's going to be the one who realizes what's going on and sort of might have to put a stop to it. But then again, you know, Wanda can just rewind him too. So who knows?
It's true. That's true. And actually, there is a scene, there's no spoilers because I know Keith didn't want to know what's happening in any of the mid-season trailers, but it looks like...
Is it very spoilish? Can I watch it without being spoiled?
I mean, I don't know, man. Like, the thing is, like, I'm so bad at, like, that kind of judgment call that I'm like, But here's what I will say. There is a scene where it looks like they are going to fight, but, as Karl mentioned, Wanda can just rewind everything. So even if there is a confrontation, Wanda can just rewind it. So maybe that's what happens. Maybe this wake up moment is actually happening really early, or who knows what the hell's happening, right? Because we saw a lot of the stuff that happens in the trailers doesn't always come to fruition. Like, for example, there's that scene where she goes, Monica, what are you doing here? And Monica goes, I don't know. But she calls her Monica and they're at a doorway, whereas in the show she calls her Geraldine. And they're in the living room, and then she pushes her through a bunch of walls, and she doesn't ask, what are you doing here? She asks, who are you? So yeah. So basically, like, the trailers are full of red herrings also, so don't worry about that too much. But yeah, I'm kind of interested to see how that all shakes down. Because I feel really bad for this version of Vision. Like, he just wants to be happy, but he also can't stand people suffering, and I feel bad.
You gotta think about this. Does he want to be happy, or is it just Wanda making him think he wants to be happy? I mean, she's ultimately controlling everything. I mean, how much free will does he really have?
Good point. Y'all, this is
Besides,
sad.
Wanda versus Vision is not really a fight. We saw what she did to him before.
True, and she could always just dead him again, which is like a terrible thing, but like she could do it.
Yeah, she can do anything to him. So yeah, I don't think so.
I'm gonna make a new version
as for
of you.
as for the trailer, Keith, I can sort of tell you it like gives you ideas of what's going to pop up in future episodes, like settings and stuff, and more of like the is it a sitcom being treated as a television show type thing, and Wanda playing around with the universe stuff and Vision asking questions, stuff like that. I don't think it's going to
answer my question.
I don't think it gets overly spoily. There may be like one shot that I think would be a spoiler, but it's something that we ought to really see what happens. We'll discuss this off air.
I think that's as good a place to end as any. You guys, are we all in agreement? Are we ready to leave Westview?
No, I
we got
to
5
stay
more
longer.
episodes.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, we can always come back, you guys. We got the secret back door. It's fine. Wanda won't boot us if we're real quiet. Thank you to everyone who's been tuning in. This has been Keith, Karl, and Sara on the Spoiler Cast talking about the first half of WandaVision. We do hope you'll come check in with us again as we talk about future episodes of the show. And be sure to go to the outerhaven.net for all your geeky nerd needs, everything news on video games, anime, TV, film, books, everything you're looking for, we got it. Guarantee it. You looking for a trout? We got that too. Don't worry about it.
We got trout. Cool.
We got plenty of red herrings, that's for sure. But
oh, she got dad jokes now. God.
Oh, it's great. We'll see you guys next time.